this top drawer here. It's farmed by Outlandish Shellfish. This is this is the same species as every oyster that's farmed on the west coast. It's called Crassostrega gigas, other than the Kumamoto, but that's down in Washington. And the best way to get into an oyster, you see it has this wide beak and then a narrow hinge. And then there's two shells. One is a flat shell, and the other one is a cup. So you want to have the cup down. It's what holds the good liquor. And so I have a glove on here. I know everyone's heard bad stories about oyster shucking, but if you put a glove on, you're pretty safe, and it's not that bad, and they're, you know, like I said, a really fun food. Hey Rob, you want to adjust it? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the oyster down like this, and if you have a cloth, fold it. Because the best way to get into an oyster is to go in on an angle that's parallel to the separation of the two shells. So if I go like this, I'll just be digging into the bottom, like you see how my knife's straight down. But if I go like that, I'll just be knocking off the top. So like I said, parallel to the separation of the two shells. And then it's all about a wiggle motion. So it's not like that, or like this. It's kind of like you're revving an engine, or like on a motorcycle. So you just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Oh, and then pop. And then you can see, you have your knife in, and you just turn it vertical. And you can see in there. You can see it's still tucked, stuck to the top. And then you just slide your knife, slide right along the top. And that should pop the top shell. And you got a clean shell. Then, everybody see, sorry. Just gotta clear my throat. There we go. There was a mussel that was right there, and that mussel goes to the bottom of the shell. So it goes from the top shell to the bottom shell, and then to get that off, just take one fell swoop, and now the oyster's loose. You always want to make sure that the oyster's loose. For some reason, people who are like new to slurping oysters, if they try to tip the oyster back and it doesn't come, it's like this really embarrassing moment for them. And if it's their first time, they could not have an oyster afterwards because for some reason, it being stuck and them being like this for longer than they need to is embarrassing. You want to pop that. So you always want to make sure it's loose. So just give it a wiggle, you see that it's through. Sir, I believe you were the first to the table.